Alright guys, and for the right stitch, you always start with any even number of the foundation chain. So for this tutorial I made 24 foundation chain, and now first row we will start with the double crochet row. So how I do it double crochet is that I insert the hook into the third chain from the hook. We also, whatever the loop on your hook doesn't count as a first chain, but whatever is below. So now we have 1, 2, 3 into this one. I know that some crocheters, they do it in the 4. So the first 3 skipped chains counts as a first, like a stitch for the next row. But I do only 3 because I think that those 2 is just enough to make a nice edge of the of any project instead of 3. So I do that, and also instead of like inserting the hook into that V shape, like here, whatever you maybe saw before into the V shape, when you turn the foundation chain in the back, you can see the bumps. So basically one bump is one chain, and this is where I insert the hook, so it makes the bottom of the project very nice. And it's a little tiny detail, but I just love it. So now let's start with the double crochet for the first row. So now let's do yarn over, insert the hook into the third chain. So it doesn't matter if you do it your way, because your, let's say it's your preference, so it's absolutely okay, or you can do it in the back bump. So we insert the hook there, yarn over, pull up the loop. We have 3 loops on our hook, yarn over, pull up the loop through the first 2 loops, yarn over, pull up the loop through the last 2 loops. This is your double crochet. But also just keep in mind that those 2 chains counts as a first stitch. So what I would recommend is to insert the stitch marker into the second top chain, and once we are on the way back of the second row, then you will know that you have to make your last stitch into this stitch. So I think that it's pretty easily actually, and I can just know, I noticed that I inserted into the wrong chain, so it has to be into the second. When you skip those 2 chains, so it has to be in the top second one right here. So now you can see that this is the first and this is the second. And now you will just continue with your double crochet in each chain until the end of the row. So now you have your first row, and it should look like this, and you should have odd number of the stitches. So this is what we need for the right stitch, or it's the better. Of course, you don't have to necessarily have odd number. You can also have it even, but makes it easier. It's just it's better to make the odd number. So now let's do chain 2 at the end of the row and turn the project. Also, those 2 skipped chain, or those 2 turning chains, counts as a first stitch of the row. So that's something that I would again recommend, to put the stitch marker right at the top of the second chain. So at the end of the next row, we will know that we have to insert, or we have to make our last stitch into this one. So now we will learn how to make the front post and back post. So now how we do the front post double crochet is that you can see the posts here from the first row. And now because those 2 chains count as a first stitch, so now we have to do first front post around the second stitch from the previous row, which is right here. And how you do it, you will insert the hook around from the front of the project around the second post like that. So your double crochet, your second double crochet, is in front of your hook. And now you will just do yarn over, pull up the loop, make it a little bit like even halfway basically of the double crochet of those 2 chains. And now you just finish it as a double crochet, as you know. So then you will do yarn over, pull up the loop through the first 2 loops, and then again yarn over, pull up the loop through the last 2 loops. So this is your front post. And now you will do the back post. So how to do it is exactly the opposite way. So now you will do yarn over and you will insert the hook from the back of the project around the next stitch. So the post is behind your hook. So when I see my project, I can see the hook right here and the next double crochet behind. And again, you do yarn over, pull up the loop. You have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull up the loop through 2, yarn over, pull up the loop through the 2. So this is your back post. Now this is what you repeat until the end of the row. And now you will do yarn over again, and the next one is the front post. So you will insert the hook around the next double crochet, but from the front. So your double crochet is in front, and then you will finish your double crochet. Now yarn over, and now you will do the back post. So you will insert the hook from the back of the project around the next double crochet, so it's behind the hook, and you will make your double crochet. So far it looks like this, and because we have odd number of the stitches, then you should finish always with the regular double crochet at the end. So but let's go there. Once I'm gonna have my last 3 stitches, I will be right back. Now you just continue with alternating front post and back post. So now I can see that I did the back post, so my next stitch is the front post double crochet and then back post. All right, so now I have my 2 stitches left. I already take off my stitch marker, which is right here. So now I know that this is my second last one. And now I did my back post, and now it's about to make my front post. So I make my front post, and into the last stitch I will make only a regular double crochet. So you basically have at the end and at the beginning just like the regular double crochet. So far it looks like this. So now you can see how it's alternating, and you can see that every other stitch is popping up and the other ones are popping down. So this is exactly what we want. And now let's again, at the end of the row, you will always make chain 2, which counts as a stitch for the next row, always. And now you can see that you have actually that the front post, when we turn the project, like when we were working on the second row, so now they become being like a back post. So now you always do the opposite stitch, whatever you see right now. So now into the second stitch I will make my front post, because now you can see that this double crochet is in the back, but we're gonna do the opposite. So we have to do the front post around the second one from the previous row, because those 2 chains count as a stitch for the next row. It's basically like a regular double crochet. Again, I would highly recommend to put the stitch marker, so then we won't forget for the next row to make our last stitch. And now you can see that the next double crochet, it's actually popping up. So now we have to do the back post. So we have to do the opposite stitch. Now you can see that we have to do the front one, and again you keep alternating front post and back post until the end of the row. Also, basically, this is another like a one way how to recognize what stitch you have to do, just because you see that the one stitch is in the back, so then you have to do the front. Or because we had the odd number of the stitches, then basically we always start with the front post first, if I don't count those 2 chains that we turn, and it counts as a stitch. So the first one will be the front post, and again even at the second last we will make our front post too. and then here the last stitch will be regular double crochet. So this is kind of also thing that you will always start with the front post. So that's another thing. So now let's just continue until the end of the row and just keep alternating front post, back post, and then you will get the texture of the right stitch. So now you can see how the texture is kind of popping up. So now I'll make a little bit more rows to actually show you the texture, and you just keep alternating the front post. You can always go back to the video to see the second row, then the third, and it's basically you repeat this until the entire of the pattern. So let me finish a few more rows and I'll be back. Alright guys, so now you can see that I made more rows. So this is the look of the right stitch. So you can see how it's kind of like going up and back, like, going forward and back. So you can see that it's also reversible stitch. So if it's kind of like from both sides, so it doesn't matter what side is like out or what's in. So this is the look of it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you learned something new today, and feel free to leave a comment if you like this stitch, if you have any project on your mind that you want to do with this stitch, or if you need, let's say, more help, or if it's understandable or not understandable. Any feedback is a good feedback. So again, thank you so much and happy crocheting.